Graziano and Lewis are here. The next game is called What Are the Chances? Hey, Dan Graziano, once and for all, what are the chances that the Steelers have Aaron Rodgers as their starter week one?
We give it 52%, which is pretty good considering he's not even on the team at the moment. They have a mandatory minicamp coming up in the second week of June. It's a date worth watching. If he's not there by the end of that minicamp, then hard to see him showing up late July for training camp and jumping right in.
Lewis, I guess that was going to be my question. Is there, we've already blown past anything I would have thought, but is there any hard, fast deadline in your mind by which they have to know?
Yeah, I would say minicamp has to be, one of those concrete, hard line deadlines because of the fact that he's going into an offense that he's not familiar with, a whole new team. We understand, we know what this looks like and the kind of challenges it presents when your quarterback has not really established himself with the primary offensive players in terms of being there every day, understanding the nuance of the offense, so they understand how he likes to play, how they like to play, so you can hit the ground running in week one. Look, the Steelers aren't interested, man. They really aren't interested in just trying to be a 500 type of team and just be a team that continues to stay in purgatory. He's the guy that we've been saying all offseason long, Greeny, that the Pittsburgh needs to level up at the quarterback position, and I believe Aaron, in a normal situation with Pittsburgh, meaning a full offseason to get familiar with Arthur Smith and familiar with his teammates, can actually provide that. The longer this goes, the more likely it is that it's going to be a disappointing season. And I know they're seeing the same things. There's no way they can't be. Every single day that he's not there hurts their chances of actually leveling up at that spot.
A confounding situation, to say the least. Let's stay in the division, Lewis, and I'll come right back to you. Joe Burrow talking to the press yesterday, expressing some frustration about a few different things. So what are the chances that Burrow and the Bengals miss the playoffs again this season?
Yeah, I went big on this one. I said it's like 60% that they're going to miss the playoffs because of and not because of the fact that, not because of what they have offensively, which is a ridiculous amount of firepower. It's because on the defensive side of the ball, with a new defensive coordinator, Al Golden, who comes over from Notre Dame, I just wonder if they have the horses, in particular up front, because of the fact that guy on your screen right there, we don't know what his situation is right now. Trey Hendrickson is the pass rush for the Cincinnati Bengals. I know they drafted Shedeur Stewart in the first round. Shedeur needs to really still, at this point in time, develop, the ability to be a consistent sacker of the quarterback, not just a pressure guy on the quarterback, not just a fantastic physical talent, but a guy who can actually put quarterbacks on the ground and close out games. Trey Hendrickson can do that. And if they don't defensively, if they're not able to keep points off the board, not able to be a top 15, top 10 type of defensive team in terms of scoring allowed, then this team isn't going anywhere. I don't care what Joe Burrow has to do. We saw that last year. We saw Joe Burrow have one of the best seasons of his career, and it's still not good enough.
Not even close. And so Trey Hendrickson has expressed enormous frustration with his situation. What do we know?
They're still working on it. They still believe they can get it done. But right now, the two sides don't see eye to eye on his value at age 30, going to turn 31 this year. And they're stuck. And to Lewis's point about Shedeur Stewart, he's not practicing either. He hasn't liked the way what's going on with his contract negotiation as a rookie contract. Didn't sign the waiver that everybody else signs when they don't have their rookie contract done to go to minicamp. So they have a couple things to figure out on defense.
And that is coming off of one of the worst defensive seasons that we've ever seen. Last one, Graziano, Josh Allen came up just short of a Super Bowl appearance again last season. What are the chances he finally wins one this year?
I ran the numbers on this, Greeny. I came up with 11.6%, which I think is a pretty high number for this time of year. I'd be curious to know whoever the favorite is and what their number is right now. But Bills are set up. They're excellent. They've proved last year that they're going to maintain a good quality roster that can compete at the very highest level. They went to the AFC Championship game and lost in Kansas City. One of these years, I think Josh Allen and the Bills break through.
Well, it better be this year, and we're about to explain to you why. The Bills are a favorite, by the way, in every game they will play this season. Let's talk about Josh Allen and the playoffs. In his postseason career, Allen has thrown 25 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. That's the best ratio in NFL history. He has 3 playoff losses with 3 touchdowns and no turnovers, all against Kansas City. No other quarterback has more than 1 of those losses in history. And we bring this up because today, happy birthday, Josh, is Allen's 29th birthday. Here's the problem. Of all the quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl, Over 70% of them did it before they turned 30. So history tells us that if Allen is going to get it done, this is the time he needs to get it done. I will repeat, the Bills are a favorite in every single game on their schedule this season. Lewis, there they are. They're the only team favored in every game on ESPN Bet. You put it all together and you say to yourself, if not now, then when for Josh Allen? What do you think, Lewis Redick?
Yeah, but, look, again, they're favored in all 17 regular season games, but, kind of very similar to the discourse surrounding the Baltimore Ravens. Nobody cares about what you do in the regular season in Buffalo. Nobody cares. I mean, yeah, of course they're going to have a great regular season. They're one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL, have tremendous continuity, front office, coaching staff, head coach, coordinators, quarterback, primary players on offense and defense. But it doesn't matter, man. It's like when you get to the playoffs, now what are you going to do? And see, that's when you're talking about how explosive the AFC is from an offensive perspective, the secondary comes into question for me, which is still a question mark for me. If we're really just nitpicking and trying to break down the Buffalo Bills, forget the offense. Josh is going to do what he's going to do. And offensively, they're going to score a ton of points. And they're going to be there in the end. It's defensively in the secondary against the high-powered teams that we know can win the game with one swing of the arm with all these fantastic quarterbacks in the AFC. Do they have the horses in the back end? Up front, they do. Up front, their defensive line, I'm telling you, is going to be as good as any in the NFL this year, and they added to it. If Joey Bosa can stay healthy, and I know people say, well, if Joey Bosa can stay healthy. Look, Joey Bosa can still play 25, 30 snaps and be very good. Landon Jackson, who they drafted from Arkansas, to go with Greg Rousseau. They've got some dogs up front now. Defensively, they're going to be able to rush the passer. It's the secondary, Greeny. It's the secondary that's the issue, and I think that could be the Achilles heel ultimately in the very end.
They have shown, however, that Sean McDermott and his staff can coach him up on defense, maybe get more out of that secondary scheme-wise than you think. And they've also shown the front office that they'll go out and get help if that's what they need at the trade deadline. Like, of all the things, I'm not worried about the Buffalo Bills until January, at which point, yes, that they need to break through one of these years. I think they will break through one of these years. It's an incredibly well-run organization that's doing all the right things, just happens to have come up against Kansas City over and over again while the Chiefs are having one of the all-time runs.
3 playoff losses with 3 touchdowns and 0 turnovers. That's almost hard to do.
It is.
Like when your quarterback has 3 touchdowns and no turnovers, it's hard to lose that game, much less to lose it 3 times in the playoffs against the Saints last year. The total is 8.5. Are you convinced they're going to win 9 games this season?
Yes, I am. And we talked about it in the first hour. I think the offensive line is markedly improved. I think the wide receiver core, starting from the inside out, from tight end to the slot out to wide receiver positions, is markedly improved. I think the defense under Dennis Allen is going to look. Dennis Allen's one of the best teachers of defense in the NFL, and Ben Johnson will put it all together. And Caleb Williams, we will start comparing him to Jaden Daniels this year on an even playing field. I think they do win 8.5 or more this year for sure.
Graz, the one that surprises me, the Patriots were 4-13 last year. Are you convinced they're going to go over 8.5 wins?
I'm not. I can understand why people are excited about Mike Vrabel and what they saw from Drake May in the second half of last season. I understand. I just feel like this is a roster that needed a lot of work. And while they did a lot of significant work this offseason, I don't think it was a one-season fix, especially in a division with the Buffalo Bills. I think it would be a pretty big leap, even for Mike Vrabel, as great a coach as he is, to get to 9 wins.
The one I understand is the Cowboys. They won 7 games last year and played a lot of it without their quarterback. Lewis, are you convinced they go over the total of 7.5?
Yeah, I do believe that. I do believe that. And one of the reasons why I really believe that is forget the wide receiver positions in addition to George Pickens and Glenn along with CeeDee Lamb. And obviously Dak coming back is important. I think really the key to this football team, obviously there's defensively, they need to be able to show that they can stand up to the physicality that teams always attack them with down the stretch. But their offensive line has the ability to be a dominant offensive line if guys like Tyler Guyton, Tyler Booker, those 2 guys in particular, along with Tyler Smith, can wind up being the kind of road graders that I used to play against when I played against the Cowboys in the 90s, when they absolutely just snatched your will from you every single game. If those 3 dudes right there can wind up hitting their potential, this football team could be really dangerous. It really could. I just happen to be skeptical in their own division because of the improvements that I think Washington is going to make, and the fact that Philadelphia, their whole offense returns.
Yes. So
you tell me what really, why we're knocking them down.
I didn't realize how many guys on the Dallas offensive line were named Tyler.
Yeah, they got a lot of high draft picks named Tyler who play offensive line. But it is a fella named George that has got a lot of people talking right now. Dak Prescott, the quarterback, talking about the challenge of keeping George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb satisfied with their targets each week. Here's what he said.
Those are two unselfish guys, and truly they want to win. And when you're not winning and you're not getting the ball, trust me, I understand the frustration. So I'm never going to be mad at them for frustrating about wanting to win and wanting the ball.
So let's start with the obvious. None of that is true. It's the kind of thing that quarterbacks say. There are no unselfish wide receivers. None of them don't care about getting the ball. It is what they live for. It is